What are the FCC rules regarding the use of a phonetic alphabet for station identification in the amateur radio service? A. It is required when transmitting emergency messages. B. It is prohibited. C. It is required when in contact with foreign stations. D. It is encouraged. D. It is encouraged. What is the maximum peak and low power output for technician class operators using their assigned portions of the HF bands? A. 200 watts. B. 100 watts. C. 50 watts. D. 10 watts. A. 200 watts. What is the grace period following the expiration of an amateur license within which the license may be renewed? A. 2 years. B. 3 years. C. 5 years. D. 10 years. A. 2 years. Under which of the following circumstances may an amateur radio station make one-way transmissions? A. Under no circumstances. B. When transmitting code practice, information bulletins, or transmissions necessary to provide emergency communications. C. At any time, as long as no music is transmitted. D. At any time, as long as the material being transmitted did not originate from a commercial broadcast station. B. When transmitting code practice, information bulletins, or transmissions necessary to provide emergency communications. When is an amateur station permitted to transmit without a control operator? A. When using automatic control, such as in the case of a repeater. B. When the station licensee is away and another licensed amateur is using the station. C. When the transmitting station is an auxiliary station. D. Never. D. Never. Which of the following formats of a self-assigned indicator is acceptable when identifying using a phone transmission? A. KL7CC/W3. B. KL7CC slant W3. C. KL7CC/W3. D. All of these choices are correct. D. All of these choices are correct. Which of the following is required when making on-the-air test transmissions? A. Identify the transmitting station. B. Conduct tests only between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. local time. C. Notify the FCC of the transmissions. D. All of these choices are correct. A. Identify the transmitting station. What type of tones are used to control repeaters linked by the Internet Relay Linking Project IRLP protocol? A. DTMF. B. CTCSS. C. Echolink. D. Subaudible. A. DTMF. Which of the following is an accepted practice to get the immediate attention of a net control station when reporting an emergency? A. Repeat source, 3 times followed by the call sign of the reporting station. B. Press the push-to-talk button 3 times. C. Begin your transmission by saying priority, or emergency, followed by your call sign. D. Play a pre-recorded emergency or tone followed by your call sign. C. Begin your transmission by saying priority, or emergency, followed by your call sign. What can happen if the antennas at opposite ends of a VHF or UHF line of sight radio link are not using the same polarization? A. The modulation side bands might become inverted. B. Signals could be significantly weaker. C. Signals have an echo effect on voices. D. Nothing significant will happen. B. Signals could be significantly weaker. What frequency range is referred to as HF? A. 300 to 3000 MHz. B. 30 to 300 MHz. C. 3 to 30 MHz. D. 300 to 3000 kHz. C. 3 to 30 MHz. What is a characteristic of VHF signals received by auroral reflection? A. Signals from distances of 10,000 or more miles are common. B. The signals exhibit rapid fluctuations of strength and often sound distorted. C. These types of signals occur only during winter nighttime hours. D. These types of signals are generally strongest when your antenna is aimed west. B. The signals exhibit rapid fluctuations of strength and often sound distorted. Why should wiring between the power source and radio be heavy gauge wire and kept as short as possible? A. To avoid voltage falling below that needed for proper operation. B. To provide a good counterpart for the antenna. C. To avoid RF interference. D. All of these choices are correct. A. To avoid voltage falling below that needed for proper operation. What is the function of automatic gain control, or AGC? A. To keep received audio relatively constant. B. To protect an antenna from lightning. C. To eliminate RF on the station cabling. D. An asymmetric goniometer control used for antenna matching. A. To keep received audio relatively constant. Which term describes the rate at which electrical energy is used? A. Resistance. B. Current. C. Power. D. Voltage. C. Power. How many volts are equal to 1 kilovolt? A. 1 THOUSA and DTH of a volt. B. 100 volts. C. 1000 volts. D. 1 million volts. C. 1000 volts. What is the ability to store energy in an electric field called? A. Inductance. B. Resistance. C. Tolerance. D. Capacitance. D. Capacitance. What formula is used to calculate resistance in a circuit? A. Resistance R equals voltage E multiplied by current I. B. Resistance R equals voltage E divided by current I. C. Resistance R equals voltage E added to current I. D. Resistance R equals voltage E minus current I. B. Resistance R equals voltage E divided by current I. What electrical component opposes the flow of current in a DC circuit? A. Inductor. B. Resistor. C. Voltmeter. D. Transformer. B. Resistor. What does the abbreviation LED stand for? A. Low emission diode. B. Light emitting diode. C. Liquid emission detector. D. Long echo delay. B. Light emitting diode. What is component 9 in figure T2? Its symbol is a zigzagging line with an arrow pointing toward it. A. Variable capacitor. B. Variable inductor. C. Variable resistor. D. Variable transformer. C. Variable resistor. Which of the following devices or circuits changes an alternating current into a varying direct current signal? A. Transformer. B. Rectifier. C. Amplifier. D. Reflector. B. Rectifier. Where is an RF preamplifier installed? A. Between the antenna and receiver. B. At the output of the transmitter's power amplifier. C. Between the transmitter and antenna tuner. D. At the receiver's audio output. A. Between the antenna and receiver. How can overload of an on-amateur radio or TV receiver by an amateur signal be reduced or eliminated? A. Block the amateur signal with a filter at the antenna input of the affected receiver. B. Block the interfering signal with a filter on the amateur transmitter. C. Switch the transmitter from FM to SSB. D. Switch the transmitter to narrowband mode. A. Block the amateur signal with a filter at the antenna input of the affected receiver. What reading on an SWR meter indicates a perfect impedance match between the antenna and the feed line? A. 2:1. B. 1:3. C. 1:1. D. 10:1. C. 1:1. What instrument is used to measure resistance? A. An oscilloscope. B. A spectrum analyzer. C. A noise bridge. D. An ohmmeter. D. An ohmmeter. What type of modulation is most commonly used for VHF packet radio transmissions? A. FM. B. SSB. C. DPSK. A. FM. Who may receive telemetry from a space station? A. Anyone who can receive a telemetry signal. B. A licensed radio amateur with a transmitter equipped for interrogating the satellite. C. A licensed radio amateur who has been certified by the protocol developer. D. A licensed radio amateur who has registered for an access code from AMSAT. A. Anyone who can receive a telemetry signal. Which of the following methods is used to locate sources of noise interference or jamming? A. Echolocation. B. Doppler radar. C. Radio direction finding. D. Phase locking. C. Radio direction finding. What code is used when sending VW in the amateur band? A. Baudit. B. Hamming. C. International Morse. D. All of these choices are correct. C. International Morse. What is a beam antenna? A. An antenna built from aluminum I-beams. B. An omnidirectional antenna invented by Clarence Beam. C. An antenna that concentrates signals in one direction. D. An antenna that reverses the phase of received signals. C. An antenna that concentrates signals in one direction. What can cause erratic changes in SWR readings? A. The transmitter is being modulated. B. A loose connection in an antenna or a feed line. C. The transmitter is being overmodulated. D. Interference from other stations is distorting your signal. B. A loose connection in an antenna or a feed line. What kind of hazard might exist in a power supply when it is turned off and disconnected? A. Static electricity could damage the grounding system. B. Circulating currents inside the transformer might cause damage. C. The fuse might blow if you remove the cover. D. You might receive an electric shock from the charge stored in large capacitors. D. You might receive an electric shock from the charge stored in large capacitors. Which of the following is true when installing grounding conductors used for lightning protection? A. Only non-insulated wire must be used. B. Wires must be carefully routed with precise right-angle bends. C. Sharp bends must be avoided. D. Common grounds must be avoided. C. Sharp bends must be avoided. How does RF radiation differ from ionizing radiation? Radioactivity. A. RF radiation does not have sufficient energy to cause genetic damage. B. RF radiation can only be detected with an RF dosimeter. C. RF radiation is limited in range to a few feet. D. RF radiation is perfectly safe. A. RF radiation does not have sufficient energy to cause genetic damage.